Thank you for downloading this RealAgriculture podcast. Excite your crops with inputs from Excite Bio. Access nitrogen and phosphorus with Excite Bio's lineup of inoculants and ag biologicals. Since 2010, they've been helping farmers harness the power of the soil. Learn more at excitebio.ca. That's XITEBIO.ca.
Okay, let's talk about the beef markets. Joining us right now for the beef market update, as she always does, it is Ann Wasko, the Gateway Livestock Exchange. Ann, how are we doing?
Good day, Shaun. I'm good.
Well, can you believe we're already into November?
I can't.
Nuts.
And yesterday, we processed bred heifers in shirts, no jackets.
Yeah, you're just in t-shirts.
Yes, great.
In early November in southwestern Saskatchewan.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy.
Wow, that is crazy. Okay, prices. What's going on south of the border and then to Canada?
Well, the U.S. really, we haven't seen much in terms of trade. Really nothing substantial to report yet. And I think it goes back, Shaun, the last couple of weeks, packers in the U.S. bought quite a few cattle, so they didn't come into this week really needing a bunch. Early bids from the packer are off about $1, $1 to $2 lower. So we'll see what today brings. I think we'll see trade by the end of today, but as we speak, we're not there. If it were $1 lower, the South would be 189, just so listeners have an idea what we're talking about, but nothing yet. I think one of the reasons that packers are maybe dragging their feet a wee bit this week is that choice cutout, which has gotten super strong over the last month, but it's lost $8 this week. And so we've got it closing the choice at 309.5. That select spread is 30 back, so we're still got strong demand on those choice and prime middles. So the middle meats have been holding their own in terms of that cutout, but I think what we're seeing is the end meats and that 90s, that trim, have really backed off from those. And so when even I mean, the middles carry a lot, but they can't carry it all. So we've got this weakness happening. And so we're off pretty good, especially compared to a couple of weeks ago on the ends and the 90s.
But demand has, still, we are feeling very good about where demand has been, given where these prices have been in.
2024, and we've talked about it a few times, and here we're into the 11th month of the year, has been substantially better from a beef demand perspective than I think any one of us would have predicted as we came into the year with these higher retail prices. But again, as supplies start to come off, and I'm talking about from a big perspective, North America wide, and of course the cow market, cow kill way off. And so we had this big strength on the trims and the chuck to support that 90s trim. So there was lots of reasons for what was going on, but it has in no question has been an amazing demand year that has been stronger than any of us thought.
But we have September retail beef prices, and what are they?
we now from a Canadian perspective, we just got from StatCan September retail beef and pork and chicken, $24.88 a kg for beef. What is that? That's 7% higher than August, the previous month.
Wow.
It's 6% higher than year to date. So that's one thing. Pork is up 4% year to date. Chicken's down 6%. So let's go back. And so this is an all-time high. This September price for beef is an all-time high at the counter. Pork, all-time highs at retail, still go back to that ASF years of 2014, 15, 16. So pork hasn't hit those highs yet. And chicken last August was in Canada was still our record chicken prices. So beef's a little bit out there on its own little limb right now, if you will. And could be, we talk about stretching the band, could be stretching that band as we speak.
But the great news, but holding, right? That's the part that it's been sustained demand.
Yes.
It isn't like, there's some sort of shock and people are just trying to fill their freezers and we sort of have this, fake lead up. This is like sustained, strong demand, people seeing not only the health benefits of beef, but the taste, obviously, and even with some of the prices. That is amazing to me. And I think most people, we go back 1 year, 2 years, they're taking the under if they were betting on demand.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this has been, now let's, we'll talk more about 2025 as we get closer to the end of the year, as we usually do on this show. But that'll be the next challenge, because in order to support higher cattle prices again in 25, So we know supplies are going to come down a bit. We're going to have to keep inching these prices at retail higher again. So,
Yeah.
but we'll be watching the economy in terms of how do the American Canadian consumers feel. Interest rates are starting to come down a bit. So then that whole economic picture should be supportive. It would be the guess today.
Well, one of the things that I have said is, I've seen mainstream, consumer commentary and some of the main pubs talk about, geez, we need more supply because these prices are so high. Well, we have to have these prices to encourage more supply. We also need Mother Nature to cooperate on a consistent basis, but that's the financial reality and how the market works. And the cycle for cattle is, it's extended. It's much longer than, say, poultry from a ramp up or ramp down sort of perspective. Now, auction marts, we're fall run, price there, ranch. Yes, love it.
love it. And so here we are in November. This calf and feeder market's just holding super strong. And actually, after both those classes kind of made a bit of a September low, kind of got a little dreary in there, we've actually moved both of those markets higher. Extremely not seasonal or normal for calf prices to move higher into October, November, but they have. And so just looking at a 5.5 weight, this is an Alberta steer price, we're about $30 a hundred higher than what they were back in September. I think we're going to see the Canfax average probably come off near $4.30 a hundred for that 5.5 weight average in Alberta. 850s are about $10 higher than their September low. So these are good moves. Just not typical. So on average, if you compare where a calf price is today to where it was this same week last year, we're about $45 a hundred higher. So that's $250 a head. So wow. It's been an amazing run. Now here, this will be supportive to it as well. Our auction market volume last week was above the 5-year average, but otherwise since August 1, we're down 28% in auction volume. So the numbers are showing there's smaller numbers coming to town, and that's certainly supporting this market.
Now, does that auction mart flow, is that just physical auctions or is that also electronic auctions as well?
This number is just the physical cattle that are coming through. So yeah. So if we're not counting the cows that traded back in this, on the videos and stuff earlier on. So this is just talking about what's coming through the market today.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely something to follow. Yeah. And I think on the minds right now, a lot of producers, well, probably quite frankly on both sides of the board, because of what we call the integrated supply chain. We got some trade talk to discuss here over the future number of months here. And I have heard from a number of Canadian cattle producers, as have you, some uncertainty, and that could have an impact on the cattle market as well.
Well, yeah, anytime we have a change of administration, this is what we go through. And so certainly lots of things have been said in the campaign in terms of what the plans will be. So we'll have to see where those come. And I know our association leaders and our feds and our provinces will be getting their ducks in a row, and we need to, because there will be a change. There's, as we've seen this administration before, we'll see it again, but probably with different, a little bit maybe different focus than what we would have seen in 2016. So yeah, certainly lots of things to watch. I think you and I talked about this before we got on the call, but not complacency, right? I think we need to be proactive on this at all levels.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about putting the numbers together. I've given this example lots. You think about some of the U.S. The U.S. packing plants and how they rely, or they really have interests, and those plants are justified based on live cattle coming out of Canada to those plants, and that those are American jobs. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this, as there's a lot of flow back and forth, not only of live animals but also finished product in a box.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yeah.
Hey, Ann, have yourself a great weekend. All the best to you, and enjoy this great November weather we're having.
I will. Same to you, Shaun. Thank you.
Great.